Everybody, it's the Jerry Metcalf podcast where top real estate agents tell how they do it. Today, we have Ari Wintraub with us from the Brentwood office of Sotheby's International Realty in Los Angeles. Ari has been in the business for 4 years and has had a rapid path to success that we're going to talk about today. Ari, elaborate on us a little bit. Just tell us, start off, just how'd you get in the business and tell us a little bit about yourself.
Yeah, and thank you for the extended music intro. I actually begged you to play that longer.
Absolutely, our pleasure. I had to beg Isaac, but he finally agreed.
Love that song and love the podcast. So super excited.
Thank you. So glad you like it. Super excited to have you.
Yeah, well, like you said, I'm in Los Angeles. Brentwood's on the west side, so we primarily focus on Santa Monica, Brentwood, West LA, Beverly Hills, Palisades. Been in business 4 years, about 3.5 years now, and love it. Feel blessed every day to be doing what I'm doing.
It's a fun business, and you have quite a knack for it. What made you get into real estate? Why did you decide to be a real estate agent?
I think like a lot of people, that are doing second careers, you think what your skill set is. And it seemed like a job that would use my people skills, constantly networking with people and, leveraging your relationships. It's a perfect mix because you get to do a little bit of paperwork, see great houses, and a lot of social.
Which you're very good at. You know a lot of people just in the Sotheby's network in general, which I want to talk about a little bit today. But before we tap into that, I want to know because you did 20 million last year, and you're almost doubling your production every year. What is it that makes you stand out of the competition in such a competitive industry?
I think it's focusing on the people. My method was strongly inspired by you, Jerry. When you came to our office a couple years ago, you talked about these lunches that you put on at the country club. I couldn't do the country club, but I could do a happy hour get together. So if it was 20 people that I had met recently or old acquaintances, get them together, go for a happy hour, pick up the food, everyone else pays for their drinks. And it's just building that FaceTime with people.
Mm-hmm.
I think a lot of it has to do with putting yourself in the right place, surrounded by the right people. My, success has everything to do with, the company that I keep. I came to a great office with a great manager, Joe Sillick, and I got the best agent in the office to be my mentor. When you're surrounded by great people and you have great agents from around the country, around the world come into our office and share their ideas, you just soak it up like a sponge.
Exactly.
I was the kind of guy I still am the first guy in and the last guy out every day. That mentor story was interesting because I asked for Stephen Moritz, biggest producer in our office, to be my mentor. And my manager's like, that's up to him. You got to go ask him. So I had this long walk down the hall. And when I got there, he's like, what do you want? I was like, I want you to be my mentor. He's like, okay. And it was just learning.
Wait, was that easy? I love it. The long walk down the hall. I want you to be my mentor. Okay.
Yeah, I think there was some inside, track there. But, that's exactly, what I can correlate the success to, is just showing up and being like a sponge and just learning from everyone I can. I remember a new agent last year, he asked me, he's like, what am I supposed to be doing every day? Like, I show up, I'm in this cubicle, like, what do I do with my time? I'm like, the manager gives us every meeting a whole list of
which is Joe,
strategies and tactics. That, like, if you just do one of those things, it's enough to keep you going with tactics and strategy.
Exactly. So, which Joe's amazing, by the way. I think I met you through Joe Seelick, your managing broker, when I may have met you at G&E. On that, I would like to say, I think what makes you stand out is you have an ability to network like I've never seen. You network with people, you meet people, you remember things about people. When we get a G&E, more people know you than you know, even though you're a new agent and you haven't been in the company long. So are there any secrets you have about that you want to share about how you connect so well and you're so engaged with so many people, which is helping build your business?
Yeah, it's definitely one of my strong suits, and maybe, compensates for, other areas that aren't as strong, but I just naturally love meeting people. And so that's what I go for. And,
Mm-hmm.
every day, I start the day thinking about what I'm grateful for. And every morning is the people that I'm going to meet this day. So I feel that, that's the joy in life, is the relationships that we build. That's what adds to longevity, is your social relationships and the people you surround yourself with. So I love it.
Exactly.
That's
Yeah.
why.
Which is huge. Well, you said you wake up every day with gratitude. I think that's what you put out comes back, and if you're grateful for what you have, that's where so much abundance comes from. What are you most excited about right now in your career this year? Or what do you can share us what you're most excited about, or what is the success you're most proud of? Either or both.
I'm excited right now for the new technologies that I'm implementing. Uh,
Oh, fun. Okay.
yeah, like everyone's always talking about the CRM. So now I'm, 1 month into, tackling a CRM and more Facebook advertising.
You have to tell us which CRM.
Follow up boss.
What is it called? Follow up.
Follow up boss.
Follow up boss. All
Yeah.
right. I've got it. That's one I haven't heard of. I'm going to check it out. And we're going to tag this in Twitter and all of our social media too. But I'm going to check this out. Follow up boss. So tell us about it.
Yeah, it's just super user friendly. It was referred to me by an agent that I closed a deal with. They're in sync with um, a landing page that does Facebook ads. So it's very good for uh, gathering in any leads that you get off Zillow, off Facebook.
Mm-hmm.
I think there's a lot out there, and they're probably all equally as good. This is the one that I'm trying, and so far I like
Well,
it.
that leads me to another question. Where does most of your business come from? Does it come from people you know? Does it come from internet leads? What's your strongest source of business?
Yeah, definitely not internet leads, because I haven't put the resources there. It's just people that I meet. Anytime, anywhere, you could be, meeting somebody.
Yeah.
And it's just different places, different times. It's just the sphere that I have. It's just referrals amongst friends,
Mm-hmm.
reaching out to people, letting them know what I do. But it's definitely within my sphere and building that sphere where the business comes from.
So,
And then, good
yeah.
referrals within the Sotheby's network obviously helps too.
So in being in, so it's fun talking to you because we talked to a lot of agents that have been in the business for a few decades, and you're on the other end of that in the very beginning of business. And I think when you've been in the business for a while, you just kind of do what you do and you forget, and a lot of it's coming to you. And you're still in that phase of business where you're really putting yourself out there and winning business, attracting business, going after business. What do your days look like? How do you time block, or do you time block,
Yeah,
or what is
time
what
blocking,
what is your schedule,
time
or how do you
blocking
do it?
is very important. And so, case in point, this is something that our manager put out there at a meeting. He put a video up of somebody, a coach, talking about this concept of owning your morning. It's this guy, Travis. People probably know who he is. And
Oh, you
so
got to
every
give us his
morning,
name, Travis. We're
I
gonna.
forget his name.
All
It's
right,
the
we're gonna get.
only, he's a real estate coach. He has a big YouTube page.
Okay,
But the thing that I took away from that is, maybe it's like Travis. I don't know.
we'll
I
find
could
out.
butcher it and say,
We'll give Joe a hard time that you came on
yeah,
our show and couldn't remember.
but it was a great tactic. And it's just
Yeah.
about time blocking, connecting with your sphere for 2 hours every single morning. So
Mm-hmm.
from 8 to 10 every single morning, I'm not looking at deals. I'm not looking at escrows. I'm not doing paperwork or even sending anybody listings. All I'm doing is like reaching out to people. And I love that part of the morning. So it's phone
It's
calls,
fun.
it's Facebook messages, it's emails, it includes writing letters and notes. So that first 2 hours of the morning,
Mm-hmm.
religiously, I try not to schedule anything. I try not to have any showings, any appointments. And so that's been a great
Well,
time blocking tool.
and I'd love to elaborate on that too, because you talk about time blocking, and a lot of people think, well, because the time blocking is 2 hours of contacting people, talking to people, basically business development for 2 hours on the phone in the morning. And I found over the years of being in the business that people will say, well, I don't have time for it, or there's the competence and the character. And people think that 2 hours of time blocking is just character. It's just reaching out to your friends and asking for business. But it's also competence building, because I'll use it, and I'm sure you do the same. I'll go and look at what's on the market. I become very familiar with what I look at, my leads, my prospects, some of my, my clients as well. And I reach out to all of them, and I talk to them, not just, hey man, who's selling a house? Because that gets old, and that's what everybody does now. But hey, by the way, did you know this has went on and off the market in your neighborhood? Oh, wow. Thanks for letting me know. It's keeping me on top of my market. It's keeping me on top of their mind. But it's a character / competence building process. So I love that. And doing that 2 hours every day. So after that, are your days crazy and changing and different? Or do you still kind of have a method of, what do you do before 8? We know what you do from 8 to 10. And what do you do after that?
After that, then it just is, taking me where I got to go pinball, really.
Right. Which is why this business suits you, because I can tell you like that, right?
Yeah.
And after that, 2 hours of calls will get you incredibly busy with follow-up and things to do and new business and new leads and more people to call and more people to help, more appointments to go on throughout the rest of the day.
The only other thing that I religiously time blocked, and it's kind of sad that I only have 2 things that are time blocked, but I've been really steady with those 2 things for 3 years, is a workout on Wednesday evening. And it's an outdoor workout on the stairs, and I haven't missed it. So like every single week, regardless of what I'm doing, I have that time blocked as well.
There you go. So you've got to, but here's the thing. If you don't time block anything, if you time block 8 to 10 a.m., that's kind of it, because our job is to be available, and we should be full of appointments for the rest of the day anyway. What is a big aha you've had in this business where, we come in, we think this business is one thing, which is all too common. And on the other end of it, even, whether it's a year or you're 3.5 years in the business now, what's a big aha for you?
Yeah, I think this year has been the year where I really figured out what that is and what you need to do to survive. And I think it was Richard Silver who you interviewed recently. He was talking about this. It's about running the steady course and not being affected so much by the highs and lows. And I think when you start, you have this expectation that everything's got to happen perfectly with the deal, that no one can cancel none of your buyers can cancel a deal, and a seller can't change their mind about selling. And I think the big aha moment is that great things are going to come, and there's going to be a lot of like easy deals, but there's going to be a lot of challenges, and you really just have to roll with it and know for every one thing that just falls apart on you, there's going to be 2 or 3 or 4 or 5 that come easily and are really smooth. And so not getting bent out of shape, not losing sleep about it, and just understand that that's part of being an agent.
That's huge. I love that. And also the things getting into this business, I remember it was Gary Keller who used to talk about this. Especially in the beginning, you've got to do deals to learn. You can't be in it for the money. You've got to be in it to learn. And the more you learn, the better you're going to. And even now, if a deal kind of goes bad or it looks like it's going to go bad, and often it doesn't, fortunately, but is going, okay, what are we learning from this? What can we get from this? What can we do to take this? Or the flip side of that is, why are we so valuable except we're presenting problems to solve them for people? That's the whole point of our job. And just remembering that. And our job is to not freak out and stay grounded and be smart and do the right thing. And being at a company like Sotheby's International Realty, we've got an incredible amount of resources, from people to tools and systems and connections and whatnot, to solve those issues. So,
yeah, no, 100%. I mean, as to what you're saying is that, you're going to focus on doing more deals at the start. It doesn't matter the price point.
Right.
And that's
learn. Yeah.
Just try and be doing as much as possible. It doesn't matter the price point. For me, that's shifted now. The quantity is not the objective. For me, it's the quality and the price point.
Exactly.
But at the beginning, especially the first couple of years, you just want to do as many transactions as you can because that's where you're going to get your feet wet and that's where you're going to learn the most.
Exactly. And develop your confidence, which, as Thomas Wright says, you can't fake. And he's so right. Okay, so pretend like, and I don't ask this often, but this is a fun question, especially for you because you've joined the company recently, or I say recently. You've been in with Sotheby since the beginning, right? For 3.5 years?
Yes. Yeah, lucky for me, yes.
Well, this is kind of an obvious answer, but I still want to hear you elaborate. Do you think the company you work for matters? Your broker
100%.
matters? And why?
100%.
And pretend I'm not at Sotheby's International Realty, by the way, so I don't know anything about the answer to this question.
Yeah, it does. At the same time, this might be kind of contradictory. I do feel what's equally as important to the company is the people you surround yourself with. Like people ask me all the time, like when they're starting, who should I join? What brokerage? What do you think about your brokerage? And what I think is most important is getting under a mentorship that is with a great agent. They could be at a different company, other than the top company in town, other than Sotheby's, but that's going to be very important. But at the same time, for me, I think Sotheby's is the best. And what I realized that was within like the first, few months of being an agent, and I pulled out my business card, and on the back of it, it has the Sotheby's logo. And I saw someone's reaction in their eyes when they saw that card. It lit up, and it all of a sudden just qualifies you and gives you a level of legitimacy. And that brand, exactly that logo is what does that.
Exactly. Well, and there are a lot of tools and resources behind the logo. Uh-oh, where did Ari go?
Had to turn some lights back on.
I know. I was wondering is that like saving electricity in there? You didn't move enough for half an hour or for 15
we are
minutes?
in California.
In Atlanta, we just leave our we leave our lights on all night. Like, what are you talking about? I was like, what's going on in there? Crazy.
Right. Yeah.
So, okay, where was I going with that? I was going to elaborate a little bit on the Sotheby's brand. Not that, again, I try not to have a Sotheby's commercial, but I kind of like the company too, that we have the resources in the website that has, an average visit of about 15 minutes and the multiple languages and currencies. And it's a tremendous tool that we have. Our clients do hire us, but we do hire our broker, and we owe it to our clients that we have the right broker behind us when we're marketing and selling their houses. And oftentimes the broker does help get our foot in the door and give us some credibility.
100%.
What is the one thing you know now? Tell me if I asked you this question, and Isaac, make note to edit this out if I did. But what is the one thing you wish you knew? What is the one thing you wish you knew when you were a new agent that you know now?
That's a great question, actually, because I've been thinking about it in the last year. Is tenacity, and you cannot be deterred by being too tenacious. And I think initially, I had that reservation. It's like, how many times can I call this person? How many properties can I show them? And especially as you get into the higher net worth clientele, they're just busy. So they may not get back to your email for like 3 emails in a row, but it's not that they don't want it, because high net worth people, they always want opportunities. And no one has ever told me, you're annoying, like stop calling me.
And if they do, then you stop, right? Right.
So, I think we have this meter that is way more sensitive to how, how insistent and how determined and how tenacious you're being. It's way more sensitive than what the person on the other side is registering.
Well,
so I think basically
Well, I love what you say, because it makes me think about when I got in the business. You're so honed in on getting a deal and making money that you have that little lingering fear of when is too much. But then you flip that and you start realizing the value that you have to offer. And the longer you're an agent, the more insight you have that you really know people don't have, and you recognize more and more that they need. And it reminds me of Jack Cotton. but it's you detach from the result and you kind of attach to the value. He doesn't talk about the attachment to value. I just came up with that one. But anyway, but it's not about an attachment to a result or an attachment to winning a client. It's being a person of service and value and having that value to offer. And all of a sudden, it completely changes your perspective. You're calling people offering value. And I say this all the time, but I can't believe how much business comes to me now because I have such an in-depth knowledge of the market that I focus on in Atlanta, which is Buckhead and Brookhaven. People are coming to me because I have made those calls and said, hey, this is going on in the market. This is what's going on. If you know somebody, I can help them out. If you need this information, it's just being a constant wealth of information to these people so that you can make 8 calls and you know that you're not being annoying because you're not in it for you, you're in it for them. And the value you have to offer can do nothing but come back to you in the end. So I love what you said. And that's really given me perspective over the years in this business too. I'm jumping ahead, but this is a fun question, especially with you being in the business just almost 4 years.
Jerry, all your questions are fun.
Good. I love these.
Well,
thank you. If you were starting all over, if you could just rewind your 3.5 years and just start all over, $200, you don't know anybody, all you have is your knowledge of the business, but you don't have any business. You don't have any connections. You've got your $200 and you've got your food and your phone and your shelter. What would you do to be a successful real estate agent?
I would organize a get-together, and I would invite everyone that I know on Facebook with a Facebook event, which doesn't cost anything
really
to set
inexpensive. Up. Yeah. You would do what I do, right? I love it. And that what you do
that's
now.
What I said. This idea came from you. You came to our office and you talked about these lunches that you set up and you invite everyone from the community. There was something else that you taught me as well that's been very special to my business that I want to mention about video. But you mentioned these lunches you did, and I said, I can never do those. I can't even afford, my own price at the country club, never mind everybody else's. So then I came up with this idea of the happy hour, and I do them. That's one thing I time block is to do those every quarter.
Yeah. And so all this time blocking's coming out now. You're more organized than we thought. No, but go ahead.
Selling out. I would invite everyone that I know. And here's the thing. What I've realized is it's not necessarily just the people that come. It's the people that get the invites because everyone's busy.
Yeah.
And so the impact of them being there is great. But if they can't make it and they receive the invite, that has just as much of an impact. So That's the other thing. I would invite a lot of people, maybe, 100 and you get maybe 25 that show up or 20. But those 100 people that get the invite, they know that they were special, that they were on your mind. So that's what I would do. I would call a bar. I would organize food for $200. I would invite as many people as I could. And I would be face-to-face, shaking hands with them. Because that FaceTime, that's the most valuable.
Exactly. And then I don't know if we talked about this when I came to LA, or you may or may not use this, but when you're inviting, people talk about you've got to call people every day, and you want to make a call that there's some sort of even if it's someone you don't want it to be an annoying call. You want there to be some reciprocity there. When you're inviting people to lunch consistently or to a happy hour consistently, you've also got a reason to call and engage. Like, I want to make sure you got the invitation. And something else to do with that is, hey, by the way, if there's someone that you see on the invitation that you would like to meet or need an introduction, I'd be more than happy to introduce you. So you're offering more value, putting other people together. And as you put people together, I've put people together and now they're best friends and they talk to one another more than I do. But it always comes back to you and comes back to your business because you're leveraging that. The phone calls it's generated for me to make, I can't keep up. Well, I hate it when people say can't. But it's quite a bit to keep up with if you decide to take it to that level. So that's huge that you bring that up, and that's a huge opportunity. So do you have any fun stories you can tell us, whether it's a happy hour event or other things you've done to develop your business and a big success story that's come out of it? One of your favorites?
Well, one story was, and as our company's getting close to having this big global networking event, I'll tell a story from that, and it sort of relates outside of networking with agents. But the idea at this global networking event that I was going to for the first time, and that's really the value. It's not just the value of like I'm going to meet other agents that are from Atlanta or from New York or from London that are going to refer me clients, but it's about building that database of agents. Like I'm referring someone to you now that's working in Atlanta. They might be buying in LA, but if they don't, the value for me is that I get to refer an agent. I had a client that just sold in LA. They moved to DC, and I've been able to refer an agent. So that's a huge value add to me as an agent to my clients. So we go to these global networking events, and I wanted to have an impact when I went. Like I said, it was my first time going. So I said to a couple agents, I was like, I want to rent like a big suite. We used to call them like Rain Man suites. So we want to get this big suite with this living room, and I want to invite people up to the room and have happy hours up in the room. And it took a while to convince them, and they were never like completely on board. I remember the day that I was checking in to the hotel and we had to get their credit cards on file. They were like, this is insane. Like no one's going to come to our hotel suite when there's like pool parties and there's like lounges, like there's big developers that are hosting events. No one's going to want to come. And I said, I'll pay you back next deal. I owe you money for sure. Like, and I just thought it would be a total flop. And then when I'm up in the room hanging out, I see that we had this app that they set up for the event. And I just started messaging people on the app, and I put up on the wall that there was a party and they should direct message me for details. And then it worked out. Like everyone showed up. We had this like exclusive get together that people were drawn towards, and all the relationships that I built came from that event. And then when the event ended, the guys that weren't part of that room had asked me if when the next Genie was happening, if they can be involved in it. So I was no longer like begging people to.
And what did you say? No, it's my party now, or that's what I would have said, maybe.
What's that?
I said, what did you say? What did you say? You should have been like, hey guys, too late. You had your chance. You're invested too late, or the stakes are up. You got to put in more or something. Make them pay.
No, unfortunately, it's been like that. But it's that idea of like taking chances. I remember like just people thinking it was a dumb idea. But you got to take it. I have this poster in my office of this surfer like dropping in on this massive wave, like double overhead, 14-foot wave. And it's that idea of like, you just got to go for it. Like he's going down. You don't know if he's going to crash, if he's going to get knocked out. But that's how it is. You just got to take those chances. And, it's like with meeting people, anytime, anywhere, I'm going to be giving out my business cards. I have like a quota that how many business cards I try and get out a day.
Right.
And, you just got to take chances. It doesn't hurt to talk to someone. The worst they can do is just say, I'm busy. So it's about taking those chances, and that's the story. So.
Oh, that's great. That's great. That's a lot of fun. Well, I remember at G&E, we are both a big fan of Seth O'Byrne in San Diego, and Seth's approach was completely opposite of yours. Seth went and he's like, hey, I just think this is a fun story, but Seth's like, I'm going to meet 2 people at G&E. 2 people. You know what? He may not have actually said this on the podcast. We may have said this another time. But anyway, because you and I were talking about that earlier. But he said
he said it in closed quarters.
Right. But he said, I'm going to G&E. I'm going to meet 2 people. That's it. That's all I want to do. I just want 2 quality relationships out of this event, and I'm just going to chill out and enjoy the rest of it. And he met Jerry Metcalf and Ari Wintraub. Like, how cool is that? And then here we are. So it's whether you go on the scale of meeting a lot of people or you want a couple of really good relationships. And I think there's different ways to network in that way, and it's huge and it's awesome.
Seth's got amazing energy, and he's an inspiring guy. I mean, I cannot stand worse than when you call an agent and they just seem like you bothered them, and like the last thing they want to do is like answer your phone call. I mean,
I love that you bring that up.
Always enthusiastic. He's always like stoked and excited.
He is, and open and giving. And that's earned him. I mean, he's the top team in the Pacific Sotheby's office, top large team, doing over $100 million a year. And it's because of that open, receptive, giving out there to help and joy and passionate about his job. He's just a great example to all of us. But I'm glad you bring that up too, because I always talk about, in business, there's generating leads, there's kind of four stages that we all need to cover. We all need to generate our leads. We all need to develop. We need to win that, not just generate leads. That's great. You got to generate them, but then you've got to win them and you've got to deliver them, meaning close your deals. And then when you close your deals, you multiply that business. Well, on that, if anything else, on that closing deals component, I always talk about the fact that you've got to understand that real estate agents are your ally. While we compete with one another for listings, we might compete on some level for buyer clients or clients in general. It's also our relationships with agents that bring deals to us. And if we are awesome, like Sotheby is such a great example to our colleagues, whether it's on a national, international, or especially a local scale, we're attracting business for our clients when we are also treating other agents like our clients, because those other agents are, every person knows about 280 people. Well, every real estate agent knows about 2,000 people. So, I mean, you're either shutting down or opening up the gates of opportunity for every single client that you have by doing that. So it's huge. It's awesome you bring that up.
Yeah, good point.
What is I've been asking everybody lately what your favorite CRM is, but we already got yours. Which tell us the name of it one more time, because I'm excited to try this thing out.
Follow Up Boss.
Follow Up Boss. So what is your favorite? And if it's Follow Up Boss, then that'll be number one. And if it isn't, what is your favorite tool?
I'm loving HomeSnap.
You know what? I find everybody on the West Coast loves HomeSnap, and we kind of are just aware of it on the East Coast. So what is it about HomeSnap that's so great?
I mean, it's my go-to in the field. So when I'm out and about and I'm looking at properties, or I need to search a property that's on the market or what it's sold for, that's the app that I'm using. It's correlated with the MLS.
Okay.
So it's supposed to be, a little bit more accurate, a little bit more up to speed. And then it additionally has all the agent info. So if I need to contact an agent, get their cell phone number to text them or email them, the app has all that. They call it HomeSnap because originally it started, you just take a picture of a house and then it gives you all the information on the house.
Does it still do that?
It still does that. It just really works off of your GPS coordinates according to where you are. Then
okay.
Sort of house you're in front of anyways. But you can save houses that you like. It sends out market updates to, everyone in your contacts that follow you. So yeah, that's my favorite.
So do you import, for example, you've got your sphere of influence, your database of your spreadsheet of people that are imported into your follow-up boss. Do you use that same list of people and just, how does HomeSnap work? Do you load them into HomeSnap also, or can HomeSnap work as kind of a secondary CRM, or how does that work?
Yeah, the great thing about HomeSnap is it gives you access to allow it to go into your phone and access all your contacts, and then send out for you an invitation if they want to they call it being your client. So, everyone that's in my my handheld device contacts is on my HomeSnap.
Wow.
And I could very likely take, the CRM database or, my email marketing database, download those, and then send an invite to all those people.
Wow. Okay. So you do all of your clients. I don't know. In Atlanta, we've been aware of it, but it just hasn't caught on. I think everybody's using Zillow the way HomeSnap has, because I've been aware of it, but I haven't. I might have the app in my phone, so I'd love to learn more about it. But do you find that clients use that and enjoy that more than the other apps?
Yeah, clients, not necessarily. I think for the agents, yes.
Okay.
It's a good agent tool.
Great. That's awesome. All right. Give us a book. If there's one book you would recommend that real estate agents read to better themselves or be more successful, what is that book?
Okay. So a book that I just have on auto repeat, that like every time I finish it, I just start reading again. And I'm not constantly reading it, but if I'm ever without something to read, I'll just pick it up wherever I left off and just keep on cycling it over. And the title, I feel, is really misleading. I actually hate the title of the book, but it's called How to Win Friends and Influence People.
Oh, that's a great book. Dale Carnegie. Yeah.
It's been around 100 years. And what I don't like about the title is it seems very tactful. But in
Yes.
the end, what I feel that book is a book that helps people make the world a better place.
How to Win Friends and Influence People. So that is actually also Jenny Pruitt's most highly recommended book, or one
Right.
of her favorites. And she
Okay.
is the founder of Atlanta Fine Homes, Sotheby's International, and the CEO of Sotheby's
Yeah.
or Atlanta Fine Homes, not of Sotheby's International, but
But what
Atlanta
I
Fine
was
Homes office.
saying about
Yeah,
that's
yeah, yeah.
what I was saying about that's misleading and why I think it makes the world a better place is because it just makes people treat each other better. It tells you
Exactly.
to get to know somebody and to not always just, go for
Assume.
what you want, but figure out what they want. It
Seek to
talks about
understand
remembering
before you
details
seek to be
about them,
understood.
remembering their
Yeah.
names, who
Yeah.
they are, and being, more cognizant and more, aware of other people's needs and just being a better person.
Exactly. Exactly. That's like
Listen,
that. What would you name that book? I would. It's almost like this is also this name might be just as bad, but it's like networking 101 or relationships 101, empathy 101. But what would you name it?
I name it, how, mankind should interact with each other.
That's even better. I love that. We'll like subtitle it by Ari Wintraub, like right at the bottom. All right, Ari, it's been awesome having you here. I want to know one more thing before we close out, and that is if there's one thing you want everybody listening to this to take, one message from this interview, what is that message?
That if you're a real estate agent, you have the best job, and you just have to be, super grateful every day. We live in an amazing world, an exciting time with technology, incredible climate. Most places, at least in California, it
I
is
was
all
going
the
to
time.
say, yeah.
And just
In your bubble, right? Go ahead.
to just really appreciate anyone you meet, anytime you have a chance to get to know and learn something from somebody like you, for example. I've learned so much from you, and I'm grateful for that.
Awesome. Ari, thanks so much. It's been great having you.
Thank you.